Welcome back to Smiles and Scars, where every smile tells a story, and every scar carries a history. Some scars are carved into the skin, others etched deep into the heart. And sometimes, the most painful ones aren't visible at all. They're in the moments you wish you could forget, but never will. It was a warm summer afternoon in a quiet California town. The sky was a clear, endless blue, the kind of day that invited people to walk, shop, and linger outside. On the edge of town, there was a small, family-owned ice cream shop, the sort of place where the air was thick with the smell of fresh waffle cones, and laughter drifted out into the street. Inside, a young girl sat with her best friend, both giggling over double-scoop cones. Her long, dark hair shimmered in the sunlight pouring through the big front window. She was Steven Seagal's daughter, though here, she was just another local kid enjoying the summer. Steven was nearby, just 2 doors down at the hardware store, picking up supplies for some home repairs. He liked days like this, simple, quiet, ordinary. But in the space of a few seconds, that quiet would shatter. The sound came first, the low, rumbling growl of motorcycle engines approaching. People on the sidewalk instinctively turned to look. A group of 5 bikers rolled up, their bikes gleaming in the sun, chrome flashing like knives. They parked in a crooked line across the street, taking up the better part of the block. They weren't here for ice cream. The leader, a tall, broad man with a messy beard and mirrored sunglasses, spotted the 2 girls through the window. He smirked, nudged one of his crew, and said something that made them laugh. Without hesitation, they pushed open the shop's door, the bell jingling cheerfully, a sound that didn't match the tension that followed them in. They stood there for a moment, blocking the exit, their boots heavy on the tiled floor. The other customers froze. Conversations died mid-sentence. The girls looked up, uncertain. "Nice hair you got there, princess," the leader said to Steven's daughter, his tone dripping with mockery. She frowned but stayed quiet. "What's the matter?" Another biker chimed in. "Too good to talk to us." Her friend whispered, "Let's just go," and they both began to stand. But before they could, one of the men reached out and grabbed a lock of her hair between his fingers. "Soft," he said, grinning. "Bet it burns real pretty." The words barely registered before the leader flicked a lighter open. A tiny flame danced inches from her hair. Her eyes went wide with terror. It happened fast, too fast for anyone to react. The flame caught at the very tips, and in an instant, the smell of burning hair filled the air. She yelped and tried to swat it out, panic flooding her. Her friend screamed. The bikers laughed. But outside, walking back from the hardware store with a paper bag in one hand, Steven Seagal heard that scream. His pace didn't quicken, not yet. His eyes narrowed, scanning the shop through the glass. He saw his daughter, her hand frantically patting her hair, a biker holding a lighter, others standing close. He saw fear on her face. And in that moment, the world slowed down. He pushed the door open. The bell jingled again, but this time it sounded sharp, cold. Every head turned. The leader looked at him and smirked. "This your kid?" Steven didn't answer. He set the paper bag on the counter without looking away from them. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. "Step away from her." The biker laughed. "Or what?" Steven took a single step forward. The space seemed to shrink around him. The air shifted. Customers began to back away toward the far wall. The leader held his ground. "You don't scare me, old man." Steven moved so fast, the biker didn't have time to finish his smirk. One moment Steven was standing still, the next his hand had gripped the man's wrist, twisting it sharply until the lighter clattered to the floor. With his other hand, Steven struck the man's chest with a short, precise blow that sent him staggering back into the counter. The others surged forward, but Steven was already moving. The second biker threw a punch. Steven sidestepped, caught his arm, and used his momentum to flip him over onto the floor, the sound of impact loud in the silence. The third tried to grab him from behind. Steven's elbow came up hard into the man's ribs, followed by a swift strike to the side of his head. Two were down, groaning. One clutched his ribs, the other his head. The fourth hesitated. He'd seen enough to know this wasn't going like they'd planned. But fear and pride fought inside him, and pride won. He lunged, swinging wildly. Stephen deflected the blow, stepped in, and delivered a knee strike to the gut that drove the air out of him. Now only the leader was standing, breathing hard, rage replacing his earlier confidence. He pulled a knife from his belt, the blade catching the light. Stephen's daughter was behind him now, her friend holding her arm, both wide-eyed. The leader growled, "I'll cut you open." Stephen didn't even flinch. "If you try," he said softly, "you won't get a second chance." The man lunged. Stephen sidestepped, his hand snapping to the biker's wrist, twisting it until the knife dropped. In the same motion, he shoved the man backward, sending him crashing into a table, splintering it. Silence. Stephen straightened, his breathing steady. "Get out." The leader got to his feet slowly, eyes darting around, realizing the fight was over, and that he'd lost badly. Without a word, he jerked his head toward the others. One by one, they stumbled out the door, nursing their injuries, climbing onto their bikes. Engines roared, and within seconds, they were gone. Stephen turned to his daughter, gently brushing her hair back from her face, checking the singed ends. "You okay?" She nodded, her voice trembling. "Yeah, now." He smiled faintly. "That's all that matters." He picked up the paper bag from the counter, nodded to the still stunned shop owner, and walked his daughter and her friend outside into the bright summer sunlight. The smell of burnt hair still lingered in the air, but so did something else, the unspoken warning that had just been delivered. And somewhere down the road, 5 bikers rode in silence, each of them carrying a scar they couldn't see, but would never forget. Because when you hurt the wrong person's family, you don't just start a fight. You end one, badly.